So, hi Jackie, welcome to Ancora Rivista Colori, and I'm very glad you're here with us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking me to be here. So nice.
Jackie is an artist that lives in Minneapolis, and can I say that? Can I say that you're an artist? Yes, I think.
Sure.
A
A mom
painter,
and an artist.
and a
How's
mom
that?
and an artist that lives in Minneapolis. So, what a better occasion to ask her what's going on in that city that somehow, for a period, has been at the center of the world, and still be at the center of the world. And for all of us, looking at that images, it's been so incredible. So, the first thing I want to ask you, Jackie, is how's the situation now in Minneapolis?
Um, there are times that I take breaks from the news, but I can say on a factual level, they removed 700 ICE operators from the city, which I believe still leaves us with, um, well, my math is so bad, 2,400 in Minneapolis. Now, our police force is only 600 people. So now we have 2,400 people, most who don't live here, most who I assume are new to this position with ICE or Border Patrol on our streets, disguised. So most you cannot see what they look like, driving cars that are not marked for the most part. So you don't know who is this person, where are they from? You can't identify them when they're outside of the cars. So I would say the situation remains tenuous. I think a lot of people are still on alert. I know I am. When I am driving Ignacio to school, I drive him to his community
Who's
college.
Ignacio?
Ignacio is a friend of my son's. He's 18 years old. He is Guatemalan. He came here with his moms. They are obviously a lesbian couple, and their lives were threatened in Guatemala. And they came here maybe 5, 6 years ago. Um, so they were concerned. Ignacio doesn't have his driver's license yet. They were concerned about him taking Uber. And so now I drive him on Tuesday and Thursday. And when I drive, it is a very new sensation. I am looking who is behind me, who is next to me. I am looking for big trucks.
Just
Uh,
because Ignacio can be a target for ICE. I mean, he's in
so
danger, actually.
yeah, anybody with, well, now that they have killed 2 white people, most of us feel any of us could be in danger for even trying to help. They don't seem to care if you're helping or recording, which you can legally record what you are seeing on the streets. Each state has a different physical perimeter for how far you can be close to a federal agent. I don't know what ours is, but I think around 10 feet is usually that. So, but you can be legally this distance away and recording what is happening. But yes, a friend of mine, she is biracial. Her father was black, her mother is white. She no longer goes to the gas station. She asks her husband, who is white, to drive their cars to the gas station to fill them up because ICE agents have been hanging out at gas stations and taking people, and then there'll just be these cars that are left empty at gas stations. They
That's just
don't contact the authorities to help, to pick it up, nothing. Just people will just gone. And they don't give us lists. They don't tell us who is there. If they fly them down to another facility, like Texas, the 5-year-old boy you heard a lot about,
yeah.
going to the facility in Texas, Dilly, I think it starts with a D. And there was a protest there. inside the facility. They protested because there's so many kids there and the treatment of the kids is so poor. The treatment for everybody is very, very poor. We had someone who was being detained at the ICE facility brought to the hospital that's about a mile from my house with major head trauma. And ICE claimed that the man himself rammed his head into the brick wall. But the doctor said that could not have been the case. There were multiple skull fractures. So clearly they did something to the guy, but there's no accountability. We have no video. We don't know where people are. So it's a lot of violence and lies, and it's scary all at once, and it's very different for us. I know many, many other people have lived in countries and experienced this. For us, though, it's new. In Minneapolis, we had George Floyd. Do you remember George Floyd?
Yeah.
So that was here. And so unfortunately, we were on the world stage then for an atrocious humanitarian, disgusting experience. And it's very feels very unusual for this to be sort of happening again in Minnesota. I
Well,
mean,
so you're telling me that the violence, I mean, this sort of anti-democratic situation uh, with no rules,
we
it's going on. I mean, because from what we from the newspaper, what comes in Europe, what comes in Italy after the second murder of Preti. I mean, the first one was René Good, right? And
see.
then Alex Preti, and it seems like to us that situation a little bit turns out to normality. But you're saying that it's not really like that. I mean, violence is it's going on every day, or there has been a little bit of calm now. You know what I mean?
See, I do think we are holding our breath and hoping that replacing the man that was here who was running the operation would
Yeah.
help. But they brought in the head of the operation, and he's no better. I mean, he stood up there last week and praised President Trump for everything that's going on. And he said the people of Minnesota the protesters have been agitators. They're the reason that these things have happened. So blaming the people that are wanting to help. So I don't see that as a sign that they plan to respond to us any differently. Um, there are there are there are people that think that what's happening is okay. I don't get it, but like they feel that they've they believe this line that there are a bunch of violent criminals that are immigrants that are still roaming our streets. It's really not true. There are laws in place. Like let's say we do have an undocumented immigrant here who commits a crime. Once he's found, he's put in our jails. And then once he serves his time, he is sent back to his country. That's just how it goes. But first, he pays the consequence here. We keep him in country. Because if we let him go to another country, he or she, that country won't press charges. That person will be free. That crime wasn't committed there. So it's anyway, most people who commit crimes, undocumented immigrants, and are living here end up in jail here. The other thing to remember about Minnesota, we don't have a lot of immigrants. We just don't. Um, it's pretty white here.
One of the question is why Minnesota? Why Minneapolis? I mean,
Because we're so
everybody knows
democratic.
Minneapolis as a nice, calm, quiet, rich, full of nature, culture. I mean, it's, you know, many people say, why Minneapolis? Because we have a democratic government, a democratic mayor, a democratic governor, because Minneapolis is, I don't know, what the answer you
Yeah, there's not one
tell
answer.
yourself about why Minneapolis?
Yeah, there's more than one reason. And to understand why, I think, is to understand Trump. Trump is like a small child. So when a child doesn't get his way, they'll lash out, right? And Trump not getting his way looks like not getting elected. The state has never voted for Trump. Tim Walz was the vice presidential candidate under Kamala Harris. He's our governor. We have a successful economy. We are very liberal. For instance, Mr. Waltz, who used to be a teacher, a high school teacher, he signed into law that lunches are free, breakfast is free at all of our schools for every kid, even if they have the means. What happens to kids when they don't have the means and they can get free lunch and then others pay is kids start to see their economic differences in each other. So the idea is that we just take care of all kids. That doesn't become as big of a, oh, you're different player, especially in their younger years. So we've done liberal things. Probably doesn't like Waltz or
Okay.
anything about our state,
Just like a child, you know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's very much like a child. That is what we are dealing with. We have a toddler who has no parents in the White House. I mean, he was coddled as a kid. He never had to do anything. He's had 6 bankruptcies. I mean, you want to talk about stealing money from hardworking Americans? Come on. And he's using our tax dollars for all of this. ICE is receiving more funding than the Pentagon. And the Pentagon is inflated how much money they get. And we've been trying to bring that cost down for years. So he's taking all of our money to do something to people who are just trying to survive and live their lives the way they want to live them and have opportunity. Like, it's hard to leave your home. Even when it's bad, that's still your home, but people do it. And they come here without anybody or anything. And, Ignacio and his brother were living in a garage and his moms were in the house and they were peeing in a bucket at night in America. Like, this is what people do to want to get ahead because they know that they can live free here. Well, now, and nobody is free, it's hard. It's hard. Life is hard. We're a very imperfect country, right? But love of God, it's not. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Just a two more questions. I mean, there has been a great reaction by the civilian, by the inhabitants of Minneapolis, not only by the politicians. I mean, we heard the mayor a lot, we heard the governor.
Mhm.
It seems like a reaction of common people, of citizens, and I think all the world is grateful to these people, because from Minneapolis, a lot of people, open their eyes on what Trump is really doing, not only in the United States, but as the same vision also for the entire world. So do you confirm this to me? Do you confirm that there has been a reaction of common people, of a lot of civilian, of just normal, that didn't like at all this? I mean,
Yeah, I would say for the most part, Carlo, in life, you tend to find yourself in proximity with people that feel the same as you. So I can say unequivocally, my friends are reaching out and trying to figure out ways to help. People are driving people, I just asked Sandra and Myrna, do you need groceries? And they sent me a picture. Their neighbors delivered a bunch of groceries to them. I mean, people are doing everything they can, just donating money to these churches that are driving groceries. Um, Women, because so many kids are home from school, they're boxing up supplies and sending those to kids. My high school, the principal contacted me, and this girl had her quinceanera, but she was trapped at home. She couldn't celebrate her birthday. So they were wrapping and putting together gifts to drop off for her. Um, yeah, I feel like for the most part, people are really trying to figure out every way to help and make their voice heard. If I took a dog walk yesterday and there were signs out everywhere, ICE out, defund ICE, 85 billion, I think the sign says. They got a ridiculous amount of money.
Hmm.
So yeah, but then I talked to my friend Sue, she's 64, and she has these long-term friends from her early days, and they're like, they'll say, well, Alex Preddy shouldn't have brought a gun with him. It's legal to carry a gun, but okay. But really? I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse, after the George Floyd, he killed two people. He brought a huge semi-automatic weapon, just shot and killed two people. All the Republicans defended that. So we still see in an age of multiple opportunities to get news, people entrenched in one side or the other. And there's Fox News, which you've probably read about,
Yeah.
is very much it's hard to watch sometimes. I mean, I go and see it because I try to understand, okay, maybe there's something I'm not realizing, but then you hear these lies, and then the other day, Trump's got a video up with the Obamas with their heads on I mean, it seems,
We can believe, I mean, it's just
oh,
unbelievable.
racism is huge. This country has not been able to get over that. Like there is just the South is not healthy in that sense, but even the North, even up here. No, I saw the people who testified the other day in DC. I don't know if they call it testifying because the Democrats they don't have the majority of the House or the Senate. So they called it wasn't a hearing, it was called a forum. But the woman who was shot 7 times had 10 bullet holes in her body, how ICE brought her to the ER and then dragged her out of the ER and into custody. She's a citizen, by the way, totally a citizen. They dragged her and a teacher, school teacher at a Montessori school, which is like the most liberal of all schools, you know. Um, yeah, I think they gave her 2 days in the ER with 10 bullet wounds and then put her in detention.
I have one last question, Jackie. $1 million question. How will it be the United States in 2 years? I mean, how do you see how's
That
going that great, I mean, country? You know, because we all hope that the reaction in Minneapolis, the reaction in a lot of part of the states, will bring, to a change as soon as possible. Do you think that, that will happen? Or do you think that the majority of Americans still uh, will vote for Trump again? Will,
Well, it's illegal. I mean, part of the frustration with all of this, Carlos, is that Carlos, sorry, is everything is illegal. Everything. Everything that's being done is illegal. and there's no repercussions, and the Supreme Court isn't getting involved. But to answer your question in a more succinct way, there's a phrase that comes to mind, which is hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I think there are those of us that are very, very involved politically. I love politics. I love politics because politics can help people. You know, I don't like when people say, oh, I don't like politics. And I'm like, well, you realize every day you are experiencing politics. So you might want to get involved. Like it's affecting your life. So those of us that feel that way we are very focused on the elections in November. I'm an election judge. I am very concerned. I have thoughts about, you know, how do we meet people on the curb and bring them in safely. I have thoughts about, yeah, I have thoughts about that. How do I make sure everybody can get out to vote and not be afraid? That is going to be such a big deal because right now what we're seeing with all of these emergency elections or, you know, if someone dies or if like the governor of New Jersey, they held a special election for her to fill her seat now that she's governor. And it, you know, we're seeing those places go Democratic for the first time. Texas, Democrat won down there. So our eye is on November.
Yeah, me too.
If we can get the House and the Senate back, and again, I need to do more work and watch some TV and read some articles on that. But if we get those back, they'll start the impeachment process and they need to move fast. They need to get everybody out. Everyone needs to be before the courts. Unfortunately, with the Supreme Court, that's the other problem. Because before Trump was put in office, they ruled that a president was above the law. That's essentially it. So whatever he decides to do, we're not gonna hold him for those things. So then we've got to make the case, the House and the Senate, that's not, I don't know. It's a mess, Carlo.
Well,
Our
in this mess,
Constitution was not perfect and it relied on people being good humans for the most part. And when they weren't, they got voted out, like Nixon. He was impeached. But we couldn't even impeach. I mean, how many times did we impeached him? Twice, Trump? And if he tries to mess with the ballots as he's been doing in Georgia, and he's now asking, one of the other reasons he's mad at Minnesota is because he has asked states to give their voter rolls to him, which means my name, my address, and how I vote is all of a sudden in the hands of the federal government. So now he can target me. I mean, when he was elected, I removed my Facebook and my Instagram accounts because I'm political and I had things up there that were liberal. I didn't post very often, but you could also tell by who I followed, and I just got rid of it because I'm like, they're going to figure it out, but I don't need to give them anything. It's also made my life a little more nice, relaxed. But yeah, November, hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
okay, we hope for the best.
Yes, please. We need to hear from the world. It helps us so much that you guys are there.
Yes, we are, and we're very, very focused on you. As
I
far
know,
as
but
we can
there's so
do,
many
we would
other
like to help
places.
all the effort that you're doing it and you're putting in the struggle.
We have to because Trump is making such horrible world choices too, and just denigrating, trying to denigrate all these other populations of people in countries he shouldn't have any control over. Like it's in Ukraine. I mean, yeah, it's astounding. It's so hard to put into words. So
Well,
thank you for listening, Carlo.
just keep in touch.
I
And
will.
thank you so much, Jackie,
Yeah, really nice
with
to see
us
you.
and for giving us this, this news from Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Really appreciate.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for listening. And yeah, reach out if you have any other questions. And I'll do my best to try to find answers.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye,
Okay.
Jack.